Well, friends from the world, Maldini, here we are. Barca-Atalanta. This stage of the Champions League ends, and I thought it was spectacular. When you're watching this video, you'll already know what happened. For now, let's hope it doesn't end. How's it going? They're doing tests. It's still early. There's a significant calm here, but they're going to play a match that I think is going to be very entertaining. Barca is qualified among the top 8, but they don't want to drop from second place. They can be first. Atalanta's putting on the line, trying to finish among the top 8. So let us analyze what happened in this match. The players will come out from here. Here you have it here. This is the tunnel. They exit here, right here. And before analyzing the match, I want to tell you exactly this. Well, you all know, friends from the world, Maldini, that Oppo is the official sponsor of the champions. Indeed. Oppo. Find X8 Pro, which is this amazing phone that I have here. It's the most of iPhone. The special match phone. It's 643. When I'm recording, as you can see, the phone is amazing. It's crazy everything it has. So let's go. I'm going to tell you these little details, and then we'll analyze what this Barca-Atalanta match has been. A great game. Hey guys, here I am with my Oppo Find X8 Pro, which is a showstopper and the official matchday phone for the champions. The matchday phone. Well, this Oppo Find X8 Pro allows you, among other things, not to miss anything because it has moving photos, burst shots that are spectacular. You just press the button here and you can take burst shots, and it's impressive. Well, it's a showstopper. The Oppo Find X8 Pro is the official matchday phone for the champions. The matchday phone. It's impressive, really. Well, friends from the world of Maldini, here I am in Montjuic, a 2-2 draw between Barca and Atalanta. Barca 2, Atalanta 2. It's a shame because Barca, I honestly found it hard to believe that Liverpool could lose to PSV Eindhoven. Barca was just 1 goal away from being first in this league. Has ended today? Well, you've probably already seen the results. Tomorrow we'll have more videos. There's also going to be a video from David Diegui about the Real Madrid match, which they won in Brest. Also, Juan Rebeles about Atletico de Madrid's thrashing in Salzburg, Manchester City in the end has come back to life. They were eliminated at halftime, 0-1. In the end, they qualified 3-1. You already know that the team that will play in the playoffs, the only Spanish team, which is Real Madrid, will play either against Manchester City or against Celtic from Glasgow. But well, let's see if we'll have time to talk. We'll do a preview of the draw, and we'll also cover quite a bit of the post-draw. Let's analyze what this Barca-Atalanta match has been. I want to say one thing. I want to applaud both teams. I want to applaud Barca, and I want to applaud Atalanta. Atalanta is a brave team, a team that's clearly got its own style. It's a team that's clearly got its own style, friends from the world of Maldini, because what Gasperini does is almost a miracle. With a team, they are good players. Of course, they are good footballers, but they are very far off. Oh, or at least quite far off. The vast majority of what is the extremely high level of this Champions League from an individual standpoint, but that gives Gasperini even more credit because he creates a great team and has been in Italy for a long time. At the top, he is the Europa League champion. He put them out in the quarterfinals of the Champions League back then, and we'll see how far they go in this Champions League. By the way, the matchups could be much more favorable than those of other teams. This Atalanta is a team that uses a mixed marking system, which we saw perfectly today. What that means, I mentioned it once, is that the players mark their opponent individually, the one who passes through their area. They maintain that individual marking on whoever comes through their zone. Throughout the play, and when the play ends, they return to their position and pick up a different opponent. That's exactly the mixed marking that Atalanta does. And playing against this team of teams is very difficult. First, because you're not used to it. There are very few teams that do this. So every time you play against this team, it happens to everyone who faces Atalanta. You have to face something very different, something new, and Barca has struggled quite a bit. And then Atalanta did something very good, as we mentioned in the broadcast, which is to be quite passive. In other words, he was waiting, he was marking, but he wasn't going for the ball, he was just waiting a little bit. So you forced the opponent, the Barca players, to make an individual play. The one who did it best was Lamine Yamal. When talking about him, of course, or some dribbling, Barca struggled with the play, Lewandowski's, of actions for the Barca players, and that caused Barca a lot of problems throughout the match. In fact, the first goal is a great play into space with a stellar ball from Lewandowski. I know it won't show up in the stats because Raphinha's pass, which by the way was magnificent. 2 assists from Raphinha today. But what he did, you'll get the notes. Tomorrow, by the way, about the match too, of course, but what Lewandowski did receiving the ball with his back to the goal and turning around, Putting that ball into space for Raphinha is what really breaks the play. Penultimate pass in this. That play is the key pass. Barca went 1-0 up with that goal. Atalanta tied the game and continued to press. After Barca's goal, the match collapsed. The game went crazy. It completely fell apart. The match went crazy. Why? Because Atalanta could no longer defend in such a passive way against the man, but had to go in tighter, more towards the ball. And from there, Barca started to have more space. Pedri started to show up, and Lamine Yamal started to stand out even more, for me, he was the best. I know Raphinha has provided 2 assists, but Lamine Yamal scored a goal and had a sensational match. I've seen better matches from Lamine Yamal, but for me, Lamine Yamal Maldini's performance was also sensational. And from that point on, the match went crazy. The giant of Atalanta. He created chances because he had players to do it. Great match from Ederson too. I liked Retegi less than Talara. It seemed less. I liked it a lot. Zappacosta on the left side, the damage he has done on the left side. Much more than Villanova, but Atalanta has created problems. He tied Barca. Did he have anything even to beat him? Also, the match went crazy. Atalanta defended that set piece very poorly with that ball to the far post from Araujo. It's a play that was probably rehearsed by Barca, but very poorly defended by Atalanta. The equalizer came with that sensational pass from Deron to Pasalic. Gasparini's substitution worked out well because what he did was take off the center forward Retegi to leave Pasalic in a little more with freedom ahead, a little more without having a reference in front. And there he found that play from Ederson for the 2-2, although for me the best player for Atalanta has been Ederson. Atalanta is a very tough team. I wouldn't want to face them. The team that faces them in the next round of this Champions League, which we are already starting with the knockout stages. It's going to be spectacular. By the way, can you do it? They can have a really tough time because it's hard. To face them, I'm going to take notes on the match, of course. For me, maybe it was my fault, but also very good. Raphinha. I'm going to talk a lot about Frenkie de Jong, who continues to grow at Barca this season. Today he left Casado out to bring in Frenkie de Jong. He left Kubarski out to give him a rest and brought in Ari Garcia. But Barca played a good match, a very tough match. They didn't have as brilliant a game as on other days, of course. But they played a good match against a very tough team to face. It's very difficult, I insist, face this front. And it really makes me sad that Barca couldn't finish first because, like I said, they had it in their hands. A last goal would have allowed them to finish first, but they ended up second. They had a great Champions League. Barca had a great Champions League. Friends of the world, Maldini, a team that lost the first match against Monaco, they won all the matches after today's draw. And against a very dangerous team that is excellently organized. I don't know what Gasparini could do with a team that has more individual stars. In one of the big teams, like Bayern, Real Madrid, Barca, or Manchester City, it would probably be much harder for him to play this kind of football. But certainly, a team like Atalanta, with these kinds of players, nails it. My congratulations and applause for Gasparini, who is a true author of this team. This, Atalanta, Friends of the World, Maldini. From Barcelona, then I'm going to go down to the pitch to take some notes. Atalanta 2. This magnificent new Champions League comes to an end for me. A magnificent new format for the Champions League, in my opinion. I don't know what you all think. I want to know your opinion. A little hug. Bye.